we did just go over the video and I showed you exactly what we'll be doing up there, and I'd like to go ahead and walk you.
Can we stop to see if it's gonna be picking up the sound?
It's picking up the sound.
He tested it.
Yeah, I tested it.
Okay,
but
yeah.
Again,
do you feel safe?
I'd rather have it on, but I can't
yeah.
take it off.
I can put mine on if you like it. I feel
No, it's me.
No, what I'm saying, like I'll put mine and you know you can talk. Not have mine on.
If you feel unsafe,
I'd rather just have it
Okay.
on, honestly. Yeah.
start.
Alright, so Mr. Christian, we went over the video showing you how your roof gets built up, and I'd actually like to go ahead and walk you through that step by step right here on your table. So what we're going to be doing first is stripping your roof all the way down to this bare decking. This is something that not every contractor does. They actually like to cut costs by not taking the roof all the way down to the decking, leaving some of the felt paper that you might have back up there on, or even installing a new roof over an old roof. It's going to help them cut down on costs, and that's something that we don't believe in, because your decking really is the foundation of your roof, and we need to start off with a very strong foundation to make sure that your roof doesn't have any problems, like the roof itself sagging under the weight of any heavy. I'm sorry, I just threw myself off.
You want to start over?
Yeah.
Okay.
You can start.
Alright, so Mr. Christian, we went over the video showing you how your roof is going to get built up, and I'd like to show you that right here on your table so you can see it yourself. So what we're going to be doing first once you get up there is stripping your roof all the way down to this bare decking. This is the kind of decking you have up there. So it is OSB, and this is essentially just going to be the foundation for your roof. Now, where a lot of contractors like to cut corners is not stripping it all the way down to the decking. They'll leave some of the felt paper out there, or even install a new roof over an old one, which is a big problem because it'll cause your roof to sag under the weight of all that's going on. On top of that, we're going to be looking for any rotted decking that we see up there, and we're going to replace any rotted decking that we find, because that really is such an important part of your roof, making sure that your foundation is in strong condition. So once we do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and install what's called ice and water shield. So what you have up there right now is called a metal valley. Excuse me. And your valleys in your roof, where they intersect like this is essentially what's in them. So as you can see, this is just basically a sheet of metal that's going on up there, and if you try and hold that flat, if you could help me out here, just try and hold it as flat down as you can. You see it's still warping in the middle here, popping up. That's because the metal actually wants to hold the shape that it's been in before. If you were to even just bend this corner right here, you can see it stays completely bent. Now the problem with that is, this is actually the first thing that installers would put up on your roof if they were to install a metal valley. And as they're walking up and down that roof, they're going to start to warp the metal more and more, causing problems where the shingles are going to start lifting up beneath it because the metal itself is lifted up. Now another problem with this is, as you can see right here, these are actually holes that they use to put nails in. And these holes, over time with heat and cold air, they actually contract and expand due to the metal's properties. Now, this is going to be a hole that's in your roof. It becomes bigger and bigger, and it's a potential leak point for your roof that could be a really big problem. We did see at your chimney, there was a lot of missing nails, and that's because the water actually got onto those nails, popped them out, and these holes were left completely behind, where it was a really big problem for your roof, causing a lot of the decking to rot under that. So what we like to install instead is called ice and water shield. So this is actually a material, a membrane, that is actually adhesive beneath. You can actually go ahead and touch that if you'd like. And you see, yeah, it's pretty sticky. So once we install that on your roof, essentially what's going to happen is it's going to have the heat activate this adhesive. And once the heat activates it, it's going to be very difficult for this to come off at all. So in your valleys, they'll be a lot better protected. These actually come in sheets of 36 inches, as opposed to the 20 or 24 inch sheets that you would find from the metal valley we were talking about before. So you already have much more protection, up to 50% more protection on either side of your valley when it comes to actually defending it. And whenever we put nails into this ice and water shield, it actually acts almost as a washer, hugging the nail as tightly as possible, preventing it from popping out, and making sure that any hole that would be left behind actually gets sealed by the ice and water shield itself. So once we put on your ice and water shield, then we're actually going to go ahead and build up the roof right here so you can watch. We're actually going to go ahead and put on some underlayment. So what we have up there right now is It's literally called felt paper. This is essentially cardboard paper that you might find at a arts and crafts store. And you can go ahead and just play with that a little bit. If you want to try and tear it, you can as well. And you see? Yeah, it tears really easily. So the problem with that is it does also crumble very easily. You felt it yourself. It's basically just cardboard being up there. If we were to bend this a little bit, which is something that might happen with installers walking all over your roof, and we try and lay it down flat as it can go, you see it still pops up. This is what's causing that wavy look that you might see on your roof, because a lot of the shingles are installed over this felt paper and it's lifting them up. And this is a huge problem because these shingles, of course, don't want to be lifted up. They want to be flat down to protect their roof as much as they can. And on top of that, this actually does hold in a lot of water, causing a lot of weight on your roof, which could be another problem. So what we like installing instead is the synthetic underlayment. We'll call it rhino roof. You can go ahead and play with that a little bit and try and tear it if you want, crumble it, anything you want to do. And you'll see that once we do try and lay it back down on the shingle here, it's actually going to lay down completely flat. And that's really good for your roof. Your shingles, as I said, they want to lay down flat, and this is going to ensure that they do stay down as flat as possible to the decking. Now, this is also a lot safer for our roofers to walk on up there. You can feel this material. It's pretty, it has a lot of friction to it, so whenever you walk on it, your shoes want to stick onto it a little bit more than this felt paper, which is of course a big issue because we have had situations where roofers could have fallen off the roof, but this rhino roof will help protect them a little bit more. And in cases such as new construction, if a roof for whatever reason needs to be left without shingles for a few days, this can actually protect your roof for up to 90 days in place of shingles. So once we finish up with that, we're actually going to go ahead and install, it's called the starter shingle. So the starter shingle, oh my bad. So what you have up there right now is actually a 3-type shingle.
Okay.
So you actually have 3-type shingles all over your roof. I'm sure you remember from the video that I showed you the other day. And essentially what roofers like to do to, again, cut costs is instead of using an actual starter shingle, they'll go ahead and take these 3-type shingles that actually are meant to go on your roof like this, and they'll just turn it around. So the problem with that is these shingles don't have any adhesive down here at the bottom. So whenever any winds come by to pick these shingles up, there's nothing preventing them from being lifted up or the shingle above them from lifting up as well. What we install instead is the starter strip. So these starter shingles, as you can see right here, actually do have an adhesive layer down here. And once that bonds with the adhesive layer of the shingle above it, it's actually going to be a very strong bond where wind isn't going to be getting through. You can imagine this shingle being placed above it. As you can see here, this isn't going to be lifted up at all. You can go ahead and try as much as you want. It's going to be very difficult to make, and this helps prevent any wind from getting in under your shingles, and as I said before, lifting them completely up. Now, once we finish protecting the perimeter of your roof, because this is going to be going around the entire perimeter of your roof, including the eaves and rakes on your roof, we're going to go ahead and install all the field shingles up there. So, sorry. So, once we finish installing the starter shingles, we're going to go ahead and put some drip edge around your roof. Let me show you what drip edge actually looks like. So, as you can see right here, this is what drip edge is. And it's a material that actually has this little kick out down here at the bottom, as you can see. So this right here is drip edge. As you can see, it has this little kick out down here. This is meant to go around the edges of your roof, or in the perimeter. So if we were to simulate your fascia right here, thank you so much, Mr. Christian. Yeah, so first to simulate your roof right here, what's going to happen is this drip edge is going to go in under the starter shingle like this, and it's going to allow any water that's running down, instead of dripping down onto the fascia board, as you have no protection for your fascia board right now, and it's what's causing it to rot. This is going to go ahead and kick some of that water out once it falls down, making sure to protect it as much as possible. On top of that, you can see these little ridges it has at the top. These ridges are meant to prevent any water from getting in if the rain was coming in sideways. Living in the Houston area, we do have some strong winds that cause water to fly sideways once it's raining, and this is going to help prevent any water from getting in under your shingles. So this is something that we're going to be installing at the entire perimeter of your roof, like I said. So even at the areas that are lifted like this, the rakes, it's going to help prevent there as well.
Okay.
prevent the water from getting in as well. So once we finish up with the drip edge, we're gonna go ahead and get started shingling your roof. So like I said before, what you have up there is a 3-tab shingle. These shingles are very flimsy. It's a single layer shingle, as you can see here. If we were to put our nail through it, it's very flimsy, and it causes, and it only protects your roof for wind speeds of up to 60 miles an hour. And that is what's causing a lot of your missing shingles on your roof, the fact that we've had stronger winds coming by and ripping some of these shingles off. This is actually what your insurance is paying for, and this is what other roofers will try and install as well, because it is much cheaper than installing a better quality shingle.
Okay.
But we believe in giving you the best quality shingle we can. So we're actually going to go ahead and automatically upgrade you from this 3-tab shingle to an architectural shingle.
Okay.
So this is our Oak Ridge shingle. As you can see, it is a 2-layer shingle. You can see where the layers intersect down here. And this is a great shingle. It does help prevent your roof from taking as much wind damage. It actually helps protect your roof for wind speeds of up to 110 miles an hour. But there is one issue with it, and that is the chalk line you see here. So this is actually the area where our installers are supposed to be hitting their nails. But as you can see, it's a very small chalk line. It's hard to see, it's hard to hit. You have thousands of nails going up on your roof at a time during installs. So I'd like to go ahead and have a little experiment here. Take this nail here, try and nail on that chalk line 5 times. You can see you did miss some of the nails. And when we have thousands of nails going up on your roof, that is a really big problem. So if I could have that back, I can show you exactly why. What happens is, if they happen to hit your shingle a little, or the nail a little bit too high, as you can see, that's actually only holding on to 1 tab of the shingle. So whenever any heavy winds come in, it's actually not getting any protection from the bottom part here. It's gonna start lifting up, and this nail is gonna tear through, leaving a hole in your shingle. Now what happens if they nail a little bit too low is, as you can see, the nailing line here is where the next shingle is supposed to come in. So if we were to put the next shingle on, it's actually leaving this nail completely exposed to any elements, and I'm sure you did see the photos that I took of them. And you have a lot of shingles or a lot of nails like this completely exposed on your roof, which causes them to rust and of course pop out like we saw at your chimney. So we do have a solution to this problem. That is our our Owens Corning True Definition shingle with the Sure Nail Strip technology. So what this is well, a direct upgrade from the Oak Ridge shingle that I showed you before. And this actually does provide you with 3 layers of protection, being the 2 layers of the architectural shingle and this Sure Nail Strip in the middle. So if I were to put a nail in here, you can actually see that's a lot more protection, and this automatically gives you 130-mile-an-hour wind resistance as opposed to the 110 of the Oak Ridge shingle that I showed you just now. So the biggest upgrade that we like to talk about with this shingle is the Sure Nail Strip here. So I can actually show you a little strip of it. You can play around with that a little if you like. You can see it's actually some fibers that are meant to help your shingle be a lot stronger. If we were to put a nail through it, so if I were to just pop a nail in here, I'd like for you to go ahead and pull that as hard as you can. Come on, you're a strong guy. Yeah, see, it's not going to come through at all. That's actually where the Sure Nail Strip really comes into play. You have so many nails going up on your roof and so many nail guns being used at once, it's hard to regulate the air pressure on the nail guns. And what happens is sometimes the pressure is just a little bit too high, and whenever they put the nail into the shingle, it's actually going to blow all the way through, leaving a hole behind, and that shingle is actually not going to be protected at all. The Sure Nail Strip is actually going to go ahead and help prevent that, and it's going to make sure that you don't have any blow through at all on your shingles. On top of that, it does also provide a better surface for the next shingle to land on. So when you have your roof, your shingles going up, you can see where this is landing is actually the Sure Nail Strip itself. So this is adhesive bonding onto the fibers that are on top of the granules. This is actually going to provide much better protection as opposed to putting it on just the granules that you see here from the Oak Ridge shingle. And this will help make sure that your shingles are as protected as possible, making sure that your roof is in the best condition it could be. On top of that, I'd like for you to just take a look at the difference between these 2 colors. They call this the Owens Corning True Definition shingle for a reason. The definition of the color is so much nicer. it really does pop. You have some neighbors that have the true definition shingles, and I'm sure you've noticed those roofs really stand out as opposed to the rest of the roofs that you might see around.
Yeah.
So once we finish up with this field shingle and put them all up over your roof, we're gonna go ahead and ventilate your roof. So what you have up there right now is a lot of square vents. I'm sure you've seen them when you go to the backside of your house, just those big boxes that you have up over there. The problem with that is they're not really ventilating your roof as well as they should be. So I'm sure you saw in the photos that I showed you, there's a lot of degranulation on your roof, and that means essentially that your attic is just way too hot. It's essentially cooking the shingles from the inside out and causing these granules to pop off almost like popcorn. And that's something that, of course, is going to create a lot of problems because once the granules aren't protecting your shingle, it's going to allow sunlight to hit the asphalt, causing it to crack, which of course leads to more and more problems later on once water starts getting into those cracks. What we're going to do instead is we're going to install this ridge vent. So essentially, these ridge vents are going to be going at the very top of your roof. So if you think of the ridge of your roof, it's essentially like that, right? What we're going to do is we're going to cut out a few inches on either side, leaving a gap like that. And what that's going to allow is it's going to allow hot air to come out of your roof through the ridge vent here. You see the holes right here are meant for the water to come out, or sorry, the air to come out. And this is going to help make sure that your roof is much better ventilated. It also allows your roof to breathe. I always like to think of a house as an organism, and every organism needs to breathe. It needs oxygen to be circulating. This is essentially going to be doing the same thing for your roof, allowing it to breathe a lot better. But of course, you do have to protect this as well. That's where our next kind of shingle comes in, the hip and ridge shingle. So what you have up there right now is actually what we showed you before, the 3-tab shingle. Now the problem with the 3-tab shingle is it's not really meant to bend. If I were to put this on top of here and start to bend it, you can see that crack forming down the middle. Now these shingles are an older material, or sorry, an older product, and they weren't really designed to be on anything other than just flat surfaces. But of course, roofers use them wherever they can to save any costs that they, sorry, I'm burping. I have like a burp on my throat, shit. Sorry.
I think they're drilling into the wall. They're making the roofing system outside.